Party people in the place to be. I'm Zattle. We back up in here, family, for another reaction video. Guess what I have for you guys on the menu today? Today, I'm going to be reacting to a video about the Mexican Mafia attack at Calipatria
Inside Calipatria State Prison, tension was always present.
Where in the... I didn't even know it was a prison named Calipatria State.
Simmering just beneath the surface. Every day, officers and inmates alike moved through routines shaped by strict rules and the constant threat of violence. The air was thick with unease, and even the smallest disruption could set off a chain reaction. But around 1 o'clock on Saturday, August 16th, 2025, that tension finally erupted into chaos. What began as a seemingly ordinary
August 16th, that wasn't that long ago. This just happened then. Look, family, this is all right. This is fairly recent.
Afternoon would soon spiral out of control. A high-ranking Mexican Mafia inmate, already restrained in handcuffs, made an unexpected demand. He wanted an unscheduled shower. In a place where every movement is monitored and every request scrutinized, this was...
Look, family, I don't mean to laugh, but this guy that's telling the story, family, this dude sounds like the guy at my daughter's school that be reading story time for the kindergartners. I can't... This shit
was no small ask. The floor officer, well aware of the rules and the risks, denied the request without hesitation. Protocol was clear, no exceptions, especially for inmates with influence. But instead of protesting or raising his voice, the inmate simply gave a subtle, almost imperceptible hand signal. It was a gesture only those in the know would recognize. A silent command.
Wow.
Instantly, about 20 Sereno gang members sprang into action. There was no shouting, no warning, just a sudden, perfectly coordinated rush toward the office.
Wow, they move like that? So I know in the Mexican cartels, they got like norteños and Serenos. And I was on lock with some in Wayside Supermax. The way... And I don't mean to be negative, but I think the Norteños, they the ones that's mostly tatted, and then the Sereños, they mostly don't have a lot of the tats like that. So I was cool with some of the ones that's non-tatted, and then all of the ones that's tatted up like that, you know, they roll in accord. But the ones that's non-tatted, they roll like that too. But it's just not as many of them, or wasn't at Wayside.
The precision of their movement made it clear this was no spontaneous outburst. This was a meticulously planned assault, orchestrated down to the second. The inmates had been waiting for the signal, ready to strike at a moment's notice. Officers were quickly surrounded, outnumbered, and attacked with practiced tactics. Some inmates moved to block the security cameras, cutting off the outside world's view of the chaos unfolding inside. Others targeted the officers directly, grabbing at their uniforms, trying to pull them down and strip away their protective gear.
Wow,
the attack
this was
calculated, aiming
semi-planned,
to
family.
disarm and incapacitate the staff as quickly as possible. The goal was clear: overwhelm the officers, seize control of the unit, and send a message to both staff and rival inmates.
The thing that I wonder the most about this whole movement was, what was the final outcome that they wanted? You know, because I'm just saying, you in prison, it's only a couple of things that's finna happen. You finna do more time, you finna be like on more tighter lockdown, or you finna be up out of here. They're gonna off you. You leaving here in a casket. So I'm just saying, they not... to me, my question is, what was they hoping to happen, or what were they doing this for?
One inmate who observed the brutal attack and wished to remain anonymous had this to say: "On the set, dem essays took flight on those cops. One wetback looked like he had a burner, but I couldn't really get a good look. There were just too many of dem. Amid the chaos, one officer managed to break free long enough to slam the alarm button, sending out a desperate call for backup. But in those critical seconds, help was still out of reach."
Wait, the other question I got is, where did they find where did they find the announcer? I had a homeboy when we was growing up. We used to call him Dim Dizzle.
Seconds that felt like an eternity.
Dim Dare.
The melee was brutal and efficient. Inmates clawed at helmets and vests, using every ounce of strength to inflict maximum harm. The officers, caught off guard, struggled to defend themselves against the relentless assault. Outnumbered and outmatched, the officers fought desperately, relying on their training and instincts just to survive.
Wow.
Every second was a battle for their lives.
You know this ain't gonna
In a matter
end
of
up
moments,
good.
the unit was transformed from a place of tense order to a violent battleground. The sounds of struggle echoed through the corridors, a stark reminder of how quickly control can be lost. And it all began with the simple refusal of a shower, a seemingly minor decision that served as the perfect pretext for a carefully orchestrated ambush.
I didn't know that showers was such a big deal in jail, prison, whatever, until I got on lock. When I got put on lock at Wayside Supermax, family, like I was in dorm 711, and the dorm leader came up to me. His name was Alabama Gooch, and he's from the east side, and he was like, "Look, OG, you gonna have to take a shower, or I'm gonna have to have you DP'd." And like for me, in my mind, I was like, we incarcerate with a bunch of N words, family, like what, etc. I'm like, I ain't take a shower for what? I'm not getting no visits. He's like, "Look, OG, like I said, now this was 2 weeks. I had been there 2 weeks. I was on Superman duty for an old dude. That's almost disrespectful. But I was doing my Supermans fully. But he was like, I ain't gonna tell you but one more time, OG. And if I had to tell you again, you're gonna have to step under the stairs for your DP." So I'm gonna say that for another story, what happened after that conversation.
Outside, the Imperial Valley sun beat down on the prison's walls, but inside,
But
chaos
showers
reigned
is a
supreme.
big deal.
The line
Showers,
between
I
order
found
and
out at
anarchy
that
had been
moment
shattered in an
that
instant,
showers is a
leaving
big
everyone
deal.
inside to face the consequences. Responding officers rushed in, only to find chaos erupting all around them. The blaring alarms and flashing lights did little to prepare them for the sheer scale of the
Wow.
violence that had broken out. Every sense was
Coordinated
overwhelmed
attacks.
as they entered the heart of the disturbance.
I wonder if
The
anybody
first group of staff
got
was immediately
stabbed or
engulfed
if it
by a
was just
swarm
like
of inmates, each one playing a calculated
beatings,
role in the attack. It was clear this was no random outburst. This was a coordinated assault with every inmate knowing exactly what to do and when to do it.
We
Larger
talking
inmates
about
moved
RICO
with purpose,
charges,
forming a
family.
living barrier to shield the core attackers from the officers' response.
Wow.
Their sheer size and determination made it nearly impossible for staff to reach those orchestrating the violence behind the front
Wow.
lines. Meanwhile, others seized the opportunity to drag officers down, pulling them into the chaos and making it even harder for reinforcements to intervene.
What?
Officers
Oh
armed with
my
batons and
God.
shields fought desperately
Oh
to
my
break through
God.
the human wall, deploying OC spray in an attempt to create separation and regain control. The air
What was
quickly became thick with the acrid, burning fog of chemical agents. The
What was
burning
they
fog
thinking
filled
about?
the corridors, stinging eyes and throats.
What did they think was gonna happen though? I'm like, really? Like, what did you think was gonna happen?
But the inmates pressed on, seemingly unfazed by the pain. The determination on both sides was palpable, as neither group was willing to back down. The fight devolved into brutal close-quarters combat, hand-to-hand, face-to-face. Officers...
They got this set up like they in Vietnam or something like that. Face-to-face, hand-to-hand combat.
Struggled to extract their injured colleagues, risking their own safety to pull them from the melee. Tight formations and interlocked shields allowed some officers to pull others to safety. Small victories in a relentless, unforgiving battle that seemed to have no end in sight. The inmates sensed their advantage.
Somebody in the chat let me know if any of these pictures are really from Calipatria State. Let me know, or if these are like AI generated. Let me know if anybody's ever been up that way. Holler in the comments. Let me know if these are
Pushing
real
harder and creating even more
State
chaos before
Prison
reinforcements could arrive and regain control.
photos.
The situation teetered on the edge of total collapse. Eventually, overwhelming force and repeated bursts of OC
Because the
spray
way they
began to
got
break
these
the inmates'
dudes
formation.
laid up in the
The
mud.
tide slowly turned as officers advanced, forcing prisoners to retreat. One by one, the attackers were subdued, restrained, and handcuffed. The chaos gradually gave way to order, but the cost was evident in the battered faces and exhausted bodies of both staff and inmates. The
They
unit
didn't do
fell
nothing but
eerily silent,
exercise.
save for the groans of the injured.
That's standard procedure, one by one. One by one. That's standard procedure, fam.
And the sharp commands of officers restoring order. The aftermath was a stark reminder of the violence that had just unfolded. The immediate threat was over, but the true impact, physical, emotional, and psychological, was just beginning to surface.
All right, so they was looking for a psychological victory because, I mean, like, what could you really hope for at
Everyone
the end of all
involved, the
this?
scars of this day would linger long after the noise had faded. After the assault, the housing unit looked like a battlefield triage.
Period.
Medical
Lockdown.
staff rushed in, treating officers with severe
They gonna
injuries,
put
head trauma,
them dudes
broken
on
bones,
lockdown so
internal
long.
wounds.
They gonna wish
11
they never
officers
even
needed
came
urgent
outside.
hospital
They gonna
care,
wish this
their
day never
conditions
happened.
critical.
Wow, family, this is crazy. One thing about prison life is it's gonna get more serious as poverty increases out in these streets, because as poverty increases, it ain't gonna do nothing but force more people into strong arm acts just to feed their loved ones. I like to say this right now to all my youngest. Look, family, look at the pictures that we just seen. Look at how they got these dudes laid up like that. They got these dudes handcuffed and tied up with tie wraps, family. Look how they got their feet spread and all that, youngins. Come on. Look, Calipatria. Where is that? Come on, youngin. You do not want this to be a part of your daily life. I be seeing these videos online. They be talking about, how much fun they having inside and all this kind of stuff. Man, that's definitely not the truth, because the fun that they having and the phone that they using to make the video that they showing you the fun on, where did that come from? That's like a whole setup, family. That's like a whole setup. So I'm gonna sit up here and tell you this right now from the bottom of my heart. I hate to see any of my youngest in this situation. As I was saying, these videos that we've been watching and we've been reacting to, you do not want to be part and parcel to the storyline, family. I really appreciate you for taking time to watch this video today. Please stay tuned for more great reaction videos. I'm Xxaatle. This is Xxaatle Live. We out of here.